All right. So asking what you and your story need. And these are really good questions when you're thinking about the type of feedback that you need and what kind of people or who you would like to ask for that particular feedback. So I've got the list here on the left side, and then I'm using examples from my own experience here on the right. I am talking about the last book that I took through this, which was my 1899 St. Louis book. It's a historical fantasy. And for me, I need feedback on the target age group. I think that this is especially important in kidlit, not to say with adults. I mean, if you write new adult and then maybe you're writing a retirement story, there probably will be, but overall, adult fiction, it's not as distinct as it is with like kidlit. Because in kidlit, with each age group that you go through, you maybe have like 3 or 4 years. And so, middle grade, and then we go into YA. 14 to 18. Then we go into new adult. And so I'm always looking for feedback on things like, if for YA, are my characters sounding too young or too old? That there's age appropriate reactions, that I'm capturing teen reality, not wanting my 17-year-old characters to sound like an 80-year-old man. So I know that I need personally that age feedback. Second thing is general genre feedback. So are you fiction, nonfiction, or poetry? And so for fiction, I have to make sure that I'm getting feedback on all of the cornerstones. And so things like plotting, pacing, characterization, setting, dialogue, all of those aspects that go into fiction in general. Then you may ask for specific genre feedback. So for me, it's historical, the fantasy aspect. You may write romance. And so you want to make sure that a person in your team has also written romance or is a romance reader so that you can get that feedback on those specific genre expectations. I can tell you that in YA historical, and I'm sure that this probably applies to historical fiction all across the board, is one genre expectation that a lot of people talk about because they'll react to is dialogue that isn't time period appropriate. It just feels too modern. And so that's something, one of the big things that can take a reader out of the story. So when I'm looking for feedback, even though I'm a nerd and I'm researching all of the words and the phrases, but still there's things that slip through, or even the way that a character says something, I need feedback on those historical aspects. Depending on your project, do you need a sensitivity reader or an accuracy reader? And for me, I would need both. I have a member of my cast who has chronic headaches. And so I got a sensitivity read on that. I would also like to get an accuracy read. And so I would do that closer to publication. I do not live in St. Louis, so I would love the input of someone who lives there. So I'm going to go through actually the Missouri Historical Society and be like, does anybody want to maybe do an accuracy read on this? But that would, for me, be an extra piece of mind just to make sure that I've gotten everything right. Your publishing path. And so whether you're indie, whether you're hybrid, or you're traditionally published, because I went down the traditional publishing path, I wanted to also get feedback from industry. And so how are these opening pages coming across to agents and editors? I've heard agents talk about all kinds of things with opening pages, like don't start a book with somebody waking up, unless you really, 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 really have a compelling reason. And actually, the first book I queried, she was waking up. And I thought about that and I was like, I could do something different. It didn't hurt the story, but it was just a little piece of advice that I took and I changed based on finding out that there's so many people who do that. And then optional for feedback is find yourself a reader whose strength is your challenge. And every time, and when I talk about assembling a team, I will always find someone who writes thriller. Thriller authors are perfect for giving you feedback on plotting. My friend has found, one of my thriller author friends, he found a plot hole in every single one of my books. So I can count on that because I love the description. If I'm giving you feedback, I will sing about your description. I love it. And I will battle with those all day long. So I kind of need that plotter who's going to be like, tap, tap. Chapter 8 moves a little slow. And it's like, okay. Or there's times where I just kind of stretch something out and I'm like, I can stack the scene and make this go a little further. So knowing what kind of feedback you're looking for. And in all of these different areas, this is going to help you plan ultimately when you find your people and assemble your team.